If they don't like it, then you tell them to shut up. It's as simple as that. You've made the...
I didn't watch that part before I came and did this. So this is the part of the video that I hard disagreed with. If you're in my Discord.
This guy's name is LeJohn
Oh yeah, background. This is a Champion 1 playing some 2v2, queued up with his buddy.
James, or LeJuan James, if you can pronounce it as that, I guess. Interesting name. I like it. And this guy is a Dominus user. If you guys are new to the channel, first video watching, you might see the video length being 25 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than 30 minutes. We like to go into everything. I hope it's not too deep for you guys. Now, first step.
That's how it is here too. My videos always run long. You guys know my videos are a minimum of 30 minutes long. Sometimes get up to an hour long. So yeah, very typical when doing analysis. So anybody, again, who's hating on me, who leaves those comments like about how long my videos are, it's a replay analysis. What do you expect? So one thing I'm going to be doing throughout this video is cutting out parts that, one, I feel like are not main points that I need, or not when I don't have something to contribute to the point that Jack is making. There's no point in me having it in the video and drawing out the length of the video even more. And plus, this is his video, so there's no point in me literally just uploading his video to my channel.
Contact on the ball as possible. Here we hit it too much to the side. It makes it very awkward for our teammate, leaves him in a tough situation here. Okay, we rotate around, which is fine. I like this. If you want to do a play like this, let's say your idea is you want to let them touch the ball. You have to know that you have a teammate behind you. Okay, if you want to just let your opponent touch the ball, make sure you're not being too greedy. You've done a fantastic play here. Don't over kind of complicate things and try and reverse and go for this ball. Have confidence that your teammate back here is in a position to go for this ball, because he is. And frankly, he's in a better position than you, okay? He's facing the ball. He has more of a run-up. He has more time, okay? All those things are positives. So what you want to do, or what I kind of propose you to do here, is fantastic. They're awkward. They're backwards. They're going to get a poor touch. They're going to give away possession. Let them do it. Here, turn ball, come off, bump this guy. Because this guy is nowhere near, okay? The only threat is this guy. You need to start thinking about it like this. He has no options as teammates. He is the only threat for my teammate here. I'm just going to bump him and let this guy, my teammate, take possession. He can boom it out, preferably not. He will take time. That's the best play in this situation. If you just bumped the opponent.
So one thing I like that Jack says here is that you need to start thinking about the game as threats. Definitely something that if you can start doing is definitely useful. So a lot of problems that I see people have in my own analysis is that they go for balls, or they go for challenges, or they put themselves in positions that they don't have to put themselves in, based on the fact that the current circumstances of the positioning of the opponents and the positioning of the ball is not a threat. So
this guy is nowhere near, okay? The only threat is this guy. You need to start thinking about it like this. He has no...
You can benefit from, or you would benefit from, starting to work on recognizing what is threatening and what isn't. And in this scenario, Jack is talking about the fact that this player who's all the way across the field is not threatening. The only threatening player here is the player right in front of the ball. So he's pointing out this play to make based on that. And what I'm talking about is more so aerialing for balls that you don't need to. Wasting boost, wasting positioning, wasting your play, going for something that you don't need to go for. So two sides to the same coin.
No options as teammates. He is the only threat for my teammate here. I'm just going to bump him and let this guy, my teammate, take possession. He can boom it out. All right, let's go back to your POV. Sorry, I'm messing up here. There we go. Okay, I don't mind this. A better play, again, is to simplify things. Go for the boost, right? If you're not sure where a ball is bouncing, don't try and wait for it. Now, I know that sounds stupid, but sometimes if you think this ball... Okay, this situation might be a little different because you might think this ball is bouncing just straight out off the backboard. However, you do stop, which means that you're slightly thinking it might bounce upwards like it does, okay? If you think that might happen, just go for their boost. Your opponents at this level are not going to be great in defense. I'll be honest. Players at lower ranks are good in offense usually over defense. Okay,
Very true.
most players.
Very true. Very true. Up until I couldn't even tell you because, like I said, I'm in Grand Champion, around Grand Champion 2, and it's definitely still the same where people are much better on offense than they are defense, and quite frankly, you have to play a pretty defensive role. I wouldn't say you have to. Obviously, you don't have to do anything, but if you don't play a pretty defensive role in your games, up until what's probably Supersonic Legend, there will be a lot of gaps in your defense, and you'll get scored on for those. So you can win, not accounting for that, not playing more passive, and you can win playing more passive. It's just, you have to also be adaptable. Sometimes you're not playing as well, and maybe a passive approach is better, or sometimes maybe you're struggling to play passive because passive gameplay requires a higher level of control and precision a lot of the time. So maybe being more aggressive can be advantageous on a day where you feel less precise. So definitely it's something that is adaptable game to game, moment to moment in each game, whether you want to play more passive or aggressive.
They will mess up. Just go for their boost, make them more.
Yeah, 100% agree with what Jack is saying, that most players are lacking in defensive rotation and positioning. And then he makes a really good point. This is where I wanted to interject here.
Awkward. This guy's on 47 boost. If you can just keep him on 50 boost, he'll waste about 20 of it somehow. And then he'll probably waste another 10 going for a ball he doesn't need to. He'll be on 10 boost. If you can keep the ball in their half, you'll have one player on 10 boost. It's just this guy you have to worry about.
So what he's saying here is this bounce was awkward to read, and this player wasn't really sure how it was going to bounce here. So Jack is saying if you're unsure how it's going to bounce, you have your teammate behind you, so you essentially don't need to be the one to hit this. If the ball gets over you, first of all, this player is going to assume that you are hitting it, so they're not going to posture to beat your teammate who's behind you. So you can go for the boost, prioritize the boost, and let your teammate behind you have the next touch, have the touch on the ball. And I wanted to point this out because another issue I see in my own games at Grand Champion is that a lot of people are in too much of a rush to score. This is something Jack has talked about, especially in 1v1. You'll hear Jack talk about this, is people being in too much of a rush to score. You don't need to score on your first play on offense. A lot of the time, the best way to play out offense in 1s, 2s, or 3s is not to try to, obviously if you've got a chance to score, take it. But a lot of the time, you can have greater results and greater success and more consistent results by taking the time to wither down your opponents, to boost starve them, and to wait for a shot to basically become free. And this is also something that Flakes sort of indirectly talks about, is waiting for a ball that is free, safe, clean, right? Don't force something, don't go for something if it's not a free, safe, clean touch. And sometimes, a lot of the time, he means that more so in like, don't take a 50-50 if you don't have to, or don't overcommit for a shot if there is a defender there to save whatever you can do. And so what I'm saying is I'm kind of also explaining how you can take that same concept and apply it to waiting for your opponents to become boost starved, recognizing that they're boost starved, and eventually the defense and the rotations will break down and you will be presented with a very open net versus having to try to score like these crazy high mechanical and low percentage plays, or having to take really challenging shots. I think a lot of the time, if you were to make the extra pass instead of taking the shot the first time it's available, make the pass. Or like Jack is saying here, steal the boost instead of trying to go for a ball that you can't really read. Boost starve your opponents. Force your opponents to use boost by hitting the ball high in awkward positions where they are not going to be able to get hard clears back to your end and are inevitably going to be giving the ball back to you after using 30 plus boost to get in position for that ball. So things like that. Don't be in a rush to score. Let the opportunities become free due to sustained offense, boost steals, demos that just open up a free goal.
So go for their boost. It also makes you kind of allowing to stay in offense. It doesn't make you on 8 boosts like it does here, and you also got a bad pass. Obviously, not going to speak about this pass. This is just a rough read of the bounce. Yeah, that's just going to come with time. I don't mind. You did read the bounce well. You just didn't then double jump up to the ball, and you didn't even go for this ball with much confidence. But you did read the play well. So it's a good read on the bounce. I would say it's just not the right situation or right play after it. You should have just gone for the boost, in my opinion. Now, you mentioned that your teammate is a duo, and I'm just going to point this out real quick in case he is watching. He needs to stop going for big boost pads like this because he's on 60 boost. 1, you don't need that, okay? Simple as that. And 2, you're just making it hard for yourself. Fantastic touch. Loop around. When you have balls that are coming off of a bounce, coming off the wall, and you're not quite sure where it's going to go, which happens, right? Everyone goes through that stage. I'm a pro. I still go through that stage, okay? Probably shouldn't tell you that, but I struggle to read bounces sometimes. Not exactly sure where it's going to bounce. If that's you, take a wide approach. That allows you to have more time. It gives you more space. The only thing you need to worry about then is because you're taking a wide approach, you're making the path to the ball a little bit slower. So you need to worry about if there's a player here that's going to just intercept the ball or a player behind you demoing. Those are the only 2 things you need to worry about in this situation if he took a wide loop. And that would allow him to read this ball better.
Yeah, I love what Jack is saying here as well. Definitely something that I sometimes touch on in these analysis, and also something that I really use a lot myself in my own gameplay is taking these wider approaches, not only to read a bounce on a ball, but also when playing defense and when returning to your net, when rotating back. A lot of people have a bad tendency to rotate down. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I don't know if I have that setting on. I think I probably do, but just in case, let me open up the Epic Pen. So a lot of people have a really bad habit of rotating back straight into the middle of the net. And the problem that this causes is when the ball bounces, say, off of your corner wall or off of your back wall and then back out, your angle to read it is very sharp. Not only is your angle to read it very sharp, meaning it's harder to read, like Jack is explaining now, but you're also opening up the angle for a shot on said bounce, right? Say the shot is occurring here. You're opening up the angle for the shot to get behind you by not rotating in at a wider angle. If we were, say, coming from midfield where this line starts, a lot of people will rotate straight into the middle of the net at a very sharp, harsh angle. But if you take a wider approach, usually this is not a problem. You usually have plenty of time to do so. And obviously, you will be able to tell if you don't have time to do so. So not only does this make reading the bounce easier, but it also opens up your field of view to where when your ball cam is on and you're looking at this ball that's bouncing up here, your field of view is now going to be something like this versus, I pressed the right button here, I think I did, versus if you came in at this middle angle, your field of view is going to be something like this. You're missing all this information. You can't see any of the opponents in this area. You can't tell if they're up for a shot. You can't tell if they're driving towards you for a demo. Nothing. Can't tell if you have time. So yes, like Jack is saying, wider approaches on reading the bounce, and also I'm putting out wider approaches when rotating back to defense, wider angles.
And he goes for boost and almost concedes, or at least makes the shot awkward for you behind him. And you did this. The reason I'm pointing this out,
and he's going to point it out again, it did just happen again, but also very experience driven thing. Like, I think this is mainly just a lack of experience thing.
You're just making it hard for yourself.
I definitely appreciate, and I'm sure he will appreciate, the advice of swinging wider to read the bounce, but I don't even think this is a reading the bounce issue. I think this is just an experience issue because he's not understanding the fact that this ball is going to bounce off of the wall and rebound into a shootable position faster than he can position for it, faster than he can grab this boost and reposition for it. So I think that's mainly experience, because it does not take really any analyzing or any teaching or anything like that to understand the fact that this ball is going to hit the wall and bounce out to a scoreable position faster than you can get here and turn around for it. That's not like a deep concept. It's really just like, it's an experience thing. And maybe pointing it out helps him to remember not to do this, or to remember this moment in time when he sees it happening again in game. But yeah, I think that's mainly an experience thing, because it's not a deep concept to understand. It's literally just, you can't make this play because it's physically impossible to get the boost and then get back to the ball before they can shoot it.
So for example, okay, 10 times out of 10, I promise you, this is one of the best plays everyone watching can, for example, if you're them, always, it will work at every rank. It works at pro level still. Don't go for that boost. It's too risky, especially if, you know, the opponent can just simply turn on this really quickly. Don't get me wrong. He did a great, you know, job controlling every rank. They're going to flip the ball into you. You can hit it over them. Always. It will work at every rank. It works at pro level still. Don't go for that boost. It's too risky, especially if, you know, the opponent can just simply turn on this really quickly. Don't get me wrong. He did a great, you know, job controlling this play. Honestly, not bad. He kind of messed up, but he handed the ball off to his teammate. Apologies for the kind of stuttering there. And, you know, it's a good play. You can't go for that boost because you're just simply leaving your teammate in a 1v2. If you have 45 boost here, look, this pad here, right, 57, 69, 81, 93. We're on 100 boost and we're back, okay? So we don't need that boost. It's just not worth it.
Very fantastically explained by Jack, and I really loved how he literally went through and pointed out the rotation that he would take back to net, picking up pads, and literally showed that he could have 100 boosts back at net and now supporting our teammate versus getting the 100 boosts from the opposite side of the field for no reason and leaving our teammate in the 1v2. So something that maybe you'll notice or maybe not, and maybe you don't even care about while watching Jack's video is, in my opinion, he needs to, in order to become a better teacher, he needs to have generalizations for things and be able to frame things in a way that people can remember them. So like, instead of trying to remember what to do specifically in every single situation, which is how I feel like Jack is explaining a lot of this analysis, and it's no fault to Jack. He'll probably get better at this over time. He hasn't been doing this a ton, especially not lately. But he's just looking at every moment in the game and pointing out what you should have done in that exact moment, instead of giving you sort of a concept, an idea that generalizes what he's trying to say, so that, one, you don't have to remember 1,000 different scenarios and what to do in every scenario, but rather you can understand the idea and apply that one idea to, you know, every circumstance in game. So I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say. It's a better way to try to learn, right? If you understand the concept of something, right? Like, for example, for me, I'm an apprentice electrician. If I have an understanding of how electricity works and all of the ins and outs of electricity and how it all works, you can throw something at me and theoretically I would be able to figure out what's going on, the mechanisms of what's going on, without having to be told what's going on. I could figure it out myself because I understand how it works. Same thing here. Instead of trying to, I mean, yes, you still want to point out the mistakes that you're seeing, but you want to be able to come up with ways to generalize the information or ways to teach the underlying principle. And what I like to do in this, what I'm getting at is, this is a common problem you'll see a lot. People going too far away from the play for a big boost. So what I usually say is if the ball is on one side of the field, you should not be all the way on the other side of the field grabbing boost. So it goes for I don't know, horizontally, vertically up and down the field, and it also applies in this direction, laterally. Applies in both directions. And that's what I usually say is if the ball is all the way over here, you should not be all the way over here grabbing boost. Or if the play is all the way in this corner, you should not be all the way in this corner grabbing boost. You usually want to stay within about half of a field length from the play in terms of both directions. So if we're here in this corner, we don't want to be any further away than the middle of the net in this direction, right? Same thing if the play is over here, we don't want to be over here. We would want to be somewhere either at our net in back post or closer. And that's just because if the play develops and it gets into a threatening position, we would be too far away to be meaningful and to stop a shot. Same thing, a same application here. If the ball is on your end and you are playing defense, you don't want to be in the opponent's half grabbing boost. And if the ball is in your opponent's half and you're playing offense, you don't want to be on your end of the field grabbing boost. You should be able to maintain this front half of the field so that you can maintain offensive pressure.
This is fine. Good rotation. Good. Take time here. Fantastic. Could have took more time. I understand we're scared, I guess, of this guy coming for the ball. Just don't be scared. Don't boost towards this ball as much as you are. I know this is really, we're going into deep here and something that you might not be able to practice, but in positions like this, boosting here will not really help you because you're already behind the ball. So even if your opponent is going for this ball, if you just simply jump and use a little bit of boost, I'm talking, 10, you're going to be behind the ball. If the opponent jumps for the ball and takes a shot, you're still going to be blocking most of the angles and get a good 50 or get a good save, okay? So you don't need to rush for this. Because you've rushed and used boost, you've gotten in front of the ball, which makes that touch poor. Luckily in this game, sometimes we get rewarded by bad touches. That's just how Rocket League works. And this touch acts as a pass, and it also acts as momentum for us to bump this player. We almost had it, and we almost had a goal from it, but it wasn't a fantastic play. I just want to make that clear. We want to be flicking this ball.
I really like that Jack points this out, that sometimes bad plays work, but that doesn't mean it's a good play. And I think that is a key philosophy that a lot of players ranked below Grand Champ fail to understand, and it's why they have not reached Grand Champ and are stuck at their rank. And it's not the only reason. I'm not saying that this, if you're somebody who's struggling to reach Grand Champ, that you're guilty of this. But in my mind, what I'm thinking of, and it's gonna come back later, is over-aggression. At lower ranks, people do not think about the consequences of their actions. People do not think about what happens if I get beat to this ball. They just, if there's a ball that they can go for, they go. And I don't want to get too into this conversation because it's actually gonna be the main inspiration for why I wanted to make this video in a later part coming up pretty soon. But I like that Jack points that out, because there are plenty of times in analysis where I will say this worked in this circumstance, but that doesn't mean it was a good play. And we always want to be basing our decision making on the highest percentage play. We always want to be doing the most highest percentage thing, the thing that works most often. Because when you do things that work most often, you get good results more often than you don't. And that's how you rank up. You rank up by gradually winning more games than you lose, by gradually having good things happen more often than bad things happen.
Quite high and out. That would be about a play that would result in more consistent results. This might be a goal sometimes, but sometimes as well, I'll give an example before I move on. We'll make a play like this where we rush this touch, and this is bad now. We've rushed this touch, we've landed over here, okay, which is what is about to happen. We've landed here. This player, if he recognizes that, doesn't go through rotation like this. He goes behind the players because we've recognized a bad touch might happen in this position, and we bump. This guy now turns and he scores the open net, or sometimes this guy can turn because there's so much time since you've gotten yourself out of the play. This guy's gotten bumped. It's just a goal. So simply,
and that's another pretty general thing, like I was talking about earlier, generalizations. Not in terms of what I was just talking about, but if we look at this image here,
turns and he scores the open net, or sometimes this guy can turn because there's so much.
He's gonna explain that this guy can demo either of these two players and it becomes a problem, right, on his rotation back. He's saying that this player could recognize the situation that just occurred and get a demo on Blumpkin. Lawan is out of position because he flipped past the ball on accident by rushing his touch, and now Blumpkin, if he gets demo, that means it's an open net. So that's what Jack is explaining here. He's explaining it as though Sky Zester is going to realize this and do it. What I think most often is the case is you're not really thinking about that. I mean, for sure, sometimes you do recognize that, but a lot of the time, again, with generalizations, something very generalized that people do, and a generalized thing that I have picked up from players like Squishy, who has talked about this, or maybe it wasn't even Squishy. I think it was Squishy, but other pro players have stated before that when you're rotating back, it's important to look for demos on your rotation back because you can disrupt your opponent's rotations, positioning, you can open up gaps in defense. So it's a general rule. This is why I love generalizing things, because again, it almost makes a complex situation where Sky Zester needs to recognize this play, which I'm not saying is impossible, but sometimes when you're playing at a high pace, you miss something like that unless you have a general rule in your mind where, okay, I'm rotating back, there's opponents in front of me, so the general rule that I've been taught is look for demos on your rotation back if it's, not gonna put you out of position or something like that. So by giving something a general piece of advice like that, like look for demos on your rotation back to defense, now Sky Zester doesn't have to think about the fact that if I demo him, it's an open net. He's just going to do it and it's going to become an open net. So I hope you see the benefit of generalizations or the benefit of explaining concepts, that sort of thing.
Much time since you've gotten yourself out of the play. This guy's gotten bumped. It's just a goal. So simply, don't rush touches like that. They can be really bad. So have a little bit more confidence that you have the space, you have the time in defense, because you really do. Okay, good touch, good positioning. Have more confidence again. Just turn, go for the ball. This guy's got a good touch. Go for the ball, right? Sometimes you do need to think, is it going to be bad? For example, if a player is here. If a player is here on the other team, you don't want to go for this ball because you're both pushing up into the same position. You want to let this guy carry on his momentum and, go for the ball again. However, I propose you become a little bit more of a ball chaser in this situation. Sometimes ball chasing is good, guys. Sometimes taking balls from our teammate is good. Don't be fooled. Don't listen to people who say that you want to just always rotate back post and always go behind your teammate. It's stupid. I don't want to hear it, okay? Take this ball.
So let's play it out a little more.
Play the situation faster. Because this guy's in your corner, you can take the ball up the wall and act on a 1v1. This guy's giving you space. You can play that 1v1 faster.
So this is what...
before this guy can get back. Sometimes put in rotation and getting in front of the ball, getting possession from yourself, or from your teammate, sorry, can result in better chances. If they don't like it, then you tell them to shut up. It's as simple as that. You've made the...
I didn't watch that part before I came and did this. So this is the part of the video that I hard disagreed with. If you're in my Discord, I sent a message that I was inspired to make this video because of a portion of this video that I hard disagreed with. And I told people that if they, brownie points if you could go watch Jack's video and figure out what point of the video triggered me. Not triggered me, I'm just kidding, but is where I hard disagree with what he was saying. And this was the point. This is where, and I'm not hard disagreeing with the fact that he said that you always have to rotate back post or anything like that, even though I'm a huge advocate of that. You guys watching know, and that probably sounds like a huge slap in the face to me because I always advocate rotating back post, which I still do. I think rotating back post all the time is a great play, honestly. But that's besides the point. That's not what I wanted to talk about here. The point that I disagree with is the fact that he's telling this player to take the ball from his teammate here. I heavily disagree with that because Jack explains that the one time you should not do this is if there's a player on that sideline ready to challenge, right? That's Jack's counter for this statement. So first of all, we have a player in midfield, and with the pace on this ball, the angle we can approach it from, the fact that we are champ 1, anecdotally, meaning based on experience, I think everyone watching this video can vouch for the fact that this player here, 9 out of 10 times, is going to be on that side wall to challenge. And by the time you can get back to the ball in the corner and make a play on the ball, this player is in position to challenge on that side wall in your corner, attempting to keep the ball in play. And then as we watch this develop,
sometimes
we do see that Sky
chasing is good, guys. Sometimes taking balls from our teammate is good. Don't be fooled. Don't listen to
after
people
Jack slaps me in the face
say
again.
that you want to just always rotate back post and always go behind your teammate. It's stupid. I don't want to hear it. Okay, take this ball from your teammate. You can play the situation faster because this guy's in your corner. You can take the ball off the wall. And
we see here, for some reason, this makes zero sense. This is the outlier, in my opinion, of circumstances. This player is turned around facing the opposite direction for some reason, instead of having gone from here to come and challenge, where as this ball was flying across the net, getting in the corner, he definitely could have been by about here by now and been ready to challenge if he wanted to. And now I'm not saying that perhaps in this play, if he's around here and the ball's in your corner, it would be a fantastic challenge because his teammate is behind the play still and he's last man, so he might not want to overcommit for that. But 9 out of 10 times, anecdotally, I think everyone here can vouch for it. When the ball is swinging across like that, swinging across your net like that, this player is ready to challenge 9 out of 10 times. And with that being said,
sometimes
I think the much better play here is to let Blumpkin stay on the ball. There's no, in my opinion, there's no reason we need to go for this ball. Because Blumpkin's momentum is forcing him in this direction. He's going to end up in the corner with this ball no matter what. And so do we want to make a play that puts both players on the ball in our corner? Again, because Blumpkin, his momentum is carrying him this way. He's going to land.
Chasing is good, guys. Sometimes
he's going to land at best here, which is pretty darn close to our corner. Again, being champ 1, probably doesn't have the foresight to try to stop his momentum by using boost and getting to the back wall or getting to the ground, nor would a lot of supersonic legends, because again, the typical play is to carry your momentum. I mean, not even to carry your momentum, but just to, you wouldn't expect your teammate to go for this ball because you are going to naturally follow the ball. You are going to be almost in the exact position that your teammate would, regardless, or not regardless. You're going to end up being in the same position as your teammate. So you don't expect your teammate to go for it because there's no point. You can do almost exactly anything that your teammate can do. And so the downside to trying to go for this ball when your teammate is landing where that ball is going is when that player 9 out of 10 times is there for the challenge on that sidewall, which even back in that play when I described that maybe he's too far to safely challenge, he could honestly aerial from that position to get a touch on the ball. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he goes for that. And it's also, in my opinion, highly likely. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, but I didn't want to spoil the point I was trying to make now, is people at these ranks below, again, anecdotally, until you get to like mid GC2, people are very over aggressive and overcommit a lot. And so if there's a chance that somebody can go for this ball, 9 out of 10 times they're going to, whether it's an overcommit or not, whether it's a bad play or not. So knowing that, putting 2 players in your corner to get 50'd by somebody, and now having nobody defending the net because both of you are in the corner, you've essentially fused into one person because you're both in the same spot covering the same options. If the ball gets past you with a 50, that shoots out off your back wall towards net, off the side wall towards net, rolls off the 50-50 towards center field. It's just an open net. There's nothing you guys can do about it because nobody's in position to do it. You're both in the corner. So that just makes no sense to me. Maybe at his rank, he has the space to do this because people aren't going to overcommit for this ball. And also players at the professional level at high SSL at 2000 MMR, if you're the person being analyzed, you might have the mechanical capability to catch this ball in the split millisecond that you have up the wall, right? If we play this out,
taking balls from our teammate is good. Don't be fooled. Don't listen to people who say that you want to just always rotate back post and always. However,
go back
it's
going
to be bad.
Play out the whole.
You really do. Okay, good touch, good positioning.
I mean, yeah, he would have had to go for this from the rip at full speed in order to make a controlled play on this ball. From the moment he saw Blumpkin make this touch in this direction, he would have had to full send it the entire time in order to be able to make a controlled touch on this ball, whether it be catching the ball up the sidewall or jumping up and 50ing it for a pinch that he can follow up, which again is a high level play that not many people below Supersonic Legend can consistently pull off. And I'm not talking about air dribbling it up the sidewall or carrying it up the sidewall. I'm talking about jumping at the ball as it's rolling towards the wall, getting a pinch on the ball that keeps it close enough and bounces it out towards midfield that you can follow it up on. So I think this is poor advice from Jack. I think this is advice that you would give to a Supersonic Legend. Perhaps. I don't think it's a necessary piece of advice you would give to a Supersonic Legend. I think a Supersonic Legend could even be fine in this situation, letting Blumpkin, again, have the next touch on this ball because he had to land here based on his momentum. And again, if we are pushed up trying to make the play here, Blumpkin doesn't realize that we're going for this ball as well, or he does realize, still has to land here anyways. We get 50 here, ball shoots out anywhere towards midfield. It's potentially an open net. I don't like this advice. What are your thoughts on that? Leave a comment down below. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of you guys agree with Jack. Hopefully I see some of you guys agree with me. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else because I could say something, but it might get me in trouble.
Ourselves.
Okay, so from here on out, I haven't seen this stuff, so I'm going to be watching this a lot more. And my reactions are going to be a lot more genuine. Because, let me tell you, when I was first thinking about that I just went through, I did a pretty good job of having a pretty genuine, emotional sort of reaction just now. But it was definitely a little bit more heated when I was going through it in my own mind before recording this video. So now my reactions to the second half of this video are going to be pretty... You should be excited.
From your teammates, sorry, can result in better chances. If they don't like it, then you tell them to shut up. It's as simple as that. You've made the better play. So I like this. You know, we've cut rotation kind of. We've not gone back post. So a lot of players would in this position. They'd let their teammate go. They'd go back post. This is good.
So again, Jack is advocating for this play. It's slightly different, but again, we're not seeing eye to eye on this, me and Jack. He's saying that he likes this player.
Good. We've not gone back post. You've made the
Doesn't go back post here.
Play.
So
result in better chances.
Again.
If they don't like it, then you tell them yourself.
Let's go back
your
even
teammate,
here.
sorry.
So yes, this is his ball. He should be challenging. He should be doing what he's doing.
Better chances.
Pass comes out. Okay.
They don't
he
like
can't
it.
Go for it. Fair enough. Our teammates rotating into net behind us. Okay. Recognize that.
You tell them to shut up. It's as simple as that. You've made.
Okay. Soft touch. And at this point, in my opinion, this is a misplay. Turning back on this ball is a misplay. We saw our teammate rotate in behind us. They, like we were talking about earlier, have a wider angle on the ball, a wider read on the ball, can cover more options after the bounce, right? No matter where essentially this ball goes, off the bounce, off the backboard, this player can attack any of them. However, this player taking a sharp angle on the play can not attack any of them. They would struggle to get to a ball pinching behind them. They would also struggle to get to a ball pinching out this way. But again, this wider angle, we cover all of that. So in this play, in my eyes, I see no reason that we need to rotate back into the play here. Again, we're opening up the possibility that we end up both going for the ball, both ending up in the corner because this player expects the ball to be theirs, because in my opinion, technically it is. They've rotated back. You forced the ball. You did your job. Your play is over. You forced the ball. You forced this guy to touch it past you, to make the pass. Our teammate is back. They've rotated back to net. There's no reason we need to be turning back into this play. We should be rotating out behind our teammate. Let our teammate come and challenge. They can jump for it for the backboard. They can wait for the bounce and go for it. Whatever. And again, this is another reason why this is something that I could go really in depth on. But I think that rotating back posts and not turning back into the play, obviously there are times when cutting rotation is good, mainly when somebody's messed up the concept of rotation, of rotating circular, rotating back posts, rotating behind your teammates, right? If somebody rotates back too far, for example, like we're on offense, right? We're making plays where the rotation's moving in this direction. Everyone's rotating around each other, but then suddenly this player rotates all the way back to our corner rather than maintaining the pressure. Sometimes like it's good to cut to maintain pressure if that happens, but that's because this player either had to or didn't have to, but they did left the play unnecessarily. So I don't remember what I was even talking about with that explanation. But I do remember that I was saying that there are a lot of extra benefits of maintaining these normal rotations where we are rotating behind one another and letting each other challenge. One, this player can actually go for a bump if they want to. Whether they are rotating behind this player or rotating through and maybe bumping the player this way. Again, anecdotally, rotating, I don't know what we can call this rotation so I can stop putting so many words to describe this rotation. Let's call it classical or old school rotations, where it is a circular motion. If I draw this in the plane of the field, it would look something like this, right? One player's challenging, rotating through. Next player's challenging, rotating through. If you're playing twos, then this player is coming back in for the next challenge. This guy's rotating behind him. If you're playing threes, there was an extra person in that rotation. Classical, let's call it old school rotation. So on your rotation back in those scenarios, you're opening up the possibility for bumps. And I think you also open up the possibility for a lot of more natural passes. I think that again, anecdotally, I noticed that first man to third man, there are a lot of really clean passing opportunities on that rotation back as third man and as the first man pushing. I don't know if that makes sense. That might not make sense for some of you if you haven't experienced it or you haven't played enough to experience what I'm talking about. But if you have, in my opinion, that is opened up by these old school rotations where passes feel natural. They come naturally. They're less readable because you're passing from first man to third man, who's often behind the opponents who they can't see. So I think there's a lot of benefits to old school rotation that have been lost in a lot of the current meta. And that could be a whole separate video. But again, here, what I started explaining this point on was that I don't see any benefit of preemptively turning on this and not letting our teammate who we saw rotate in behind us go for this. And in fact, I see downsides to it, like I pointed out, where we have less in this position, we're covering less angles than this guy on the bounce.
The better play. So I like this. You know, we've cut rotation kind of. We've not gone back post. So a lot of players would in this position. They'd let their teammate go. They'd go back post. This is good. We've turned on the ball.
Right, by the time we make this touch, our teammate could have made the exact same touch.
In the situation ourselves.
And again, everything is circumstantial. Maybe Jack is arguing that ideally that's not the play we want to be making. And the play we want to be making is faster and more aggressive and whatnot. But again, we have to recognize what rank we're at. And even so, even recognizing that, I still think rotating back post is the better
touch.
play.
Play for the pass. I love it. Go for the pass. Almost. Just carry on playing for this pass, though. Don't turn back unless your teammate called that he's going solo. That's fine as well. Even then, don't turn back. Go for a bump. Your teammate has time. So don't just go to defense. Be aggressive. I want you guys to be aggressive players. We hate playing aggressive players. You know, we hate playing ball chasers, or I do at least. I don't know about you guys. We hate playing ball chasers. Play aggressive. Get in their face. Look for this pass. If Blumpkin sees this pass, it'll be fantastic because this guy gives space so often at this rank. Just look for this pass down the, you know, across the line or across the pitch, sorry, along the ground or high. Can act as, you know, both passes will work there and it'll be fantastic. If he wants to go solo, which is completely fine, I like this play, fantastic pass, then make sure we're there. Urgency, we need urgency. Make sure we're there, okay? Or go for a bump. One of those plays is better than going behind our teammate when he has possession, okay? Unless he's getting a 50, we don't need to be behind him. We can still be beside him, you know, more here. And one, we just score because it's a fantastic pass. And two, if he gets, you know, challenged, we can turn. We're not over aggressive, okay? So have some faith. Be aggressive. Get in your opponent's face. Make sure you're there for the passes.
I do like this point that Jack is making. Not necessarily that we always need to be, not necessarily that we need to be going for the pass there, which in that position, I think it looked fine. I think that's a circumstantial sort of situation. That pass looked very open. But generally, I am sort of more of somebody who I came up, as many of you did, learning from Squishy Muffins. He did a lot of educating in like his early and middle of his career. He really educated a lot of the Rocket League community, and as well as a lot of you, this might be a blast from the past for some of you, this name. Sometimes I find myself thinking of like nostalgia and nostalgic moments or like history and shit like that. Mason RL90. How many of you know the name Mason RL90? If you know that name, you are an OG. That guy, that's another guy who used to do a lot of educating in the Rocket League community 10 years ago. And then also like Derek. Some of you probably know who Derek is. I don't know if he plays Rocket League anymore, but if he did quit, it's been probably within the last year or two. So he was a pretty popular streamer for he never could break into the pro scene. He was a pretty competitive player. He was, in today's standard, probably like a GC2 to maybe low SSL level player. Had a really good mind for the game, but never really kept up mechanically, as a lot of those early popular players sort of were not able to keep up with mechanics and the development of the game. But so those are the people that I really learned from coming up, were Squishy, Mason RL90, and Derek. So maybe that's my bias in these analysis and whatever. But something that I learned is in 2v2, it is, and it's true, it is risky to go for passes in 2v2. Because if you go for a pass in 2v2 and it gets snuffed out, right? The opponents see it coming and they intercept it. Well, one person is going for the pass. If we draw this out, right, like these are our cars. One person is going for the pass, putting their momentum in this direction, right? Committing their car in this direction. This player is possibly committing to try to take the shot, putting their momentum in this direction. Meanwhile, somebody snuffs out the pass, intercepts it, and now you're both flying off in front of the play and the net is open behind you. So in 2v2, it's risky to go for passes because there's only two players, you and your teammate. And if the ball gets intercepted, there's a decent chance that you both committed your momentum forward. Not always. It's not always the case, but there's enough of a probability that's why you don't see a ton of passes in 2v2, is because people sort of realized, okay, it's too risky. Now, again, situationally, circumstantially, you can identify, you can use your human brain to differentiate when it's not risky, and you can absolutely do it. But the main...
Okay, there's 50 in your opponent's face.
Oh, this is what I originally was wanting to pause for. That was a long explanation for something that wasn't even the original reason I paused this. What I like that he said here is that have some faith. I love that he said that, because what you need to understand is when your teammate is on the ball, their goal is to give you a scoring opportunity. Whether they're air dribbling it towards the backboard, going for a flip reset, just hitting the ball, your teammate's goal in their mind is to create a scoring opportunity. Whether you believe that or not, it's the goal of the game. And so when you see this, your teammate going for this pinch, you want to be in position to be able to score if he successfully creates that opportunity. And like Jack said, we can do so without being so close that we're overcommitting by essentially waiting for it, he points out, about where you're at now, rather than he was waiting for it about twice as far back as he is now, not really having any faith in the play. So that's just something to think about when you're watching your teammate make a play. Understand that their goal is to put the ball in front of the net for you to score. So be ready for it. Especially if you're playing threes and you're not last man, you've got somebody behind you, you definitely should be ready for it. But in 2v2, obviously it's a little harder to walk that line of being ready for it and not overcommitting. But here it was definitely possible.
Aggressive. Get in your opponent's face. Make sure you're there for the passes. Great, by the way. Just go for the boost. Don't care about the ball in this situation. Not worth it. Go for the boost. Fantastic. They'll panic. They'll just hit the ball out. They'll then panic again. They'll miss the ball. All right? Don't mind this. In plays like this, right, where the opponent is behind the ball, I want you to start fake challenging. Everyone watching this video that is champ, start fake challenging. Your opponents, I swear to you.
Yeah, okay, before Jack continues this explanation, I'm going to interject here and say that I absolutely agree that, like, Champ 2, maybe even Champ 3 and below, one of the biggest difference makers between Grand Champs and those ranks is fake challenges. And if you're still watching at this point in the video, specific player Morbid, Morbid Flex, what's up, dude? First of all, and second of all, he's a longtime supporter of mine, slightly lower ranked than me, usually hovers around like mid champs, and we were playing some like 2v2s on stream with some of my viewers, and it was like me and one other higher ranked player versus him and like another lower ranked player, like a champ 2, him being a champ 2, and then another like diamond 3, and we were playing 2s, And the biggest thing that I noticed was I was just wrecking them with fake challenges. Like every time that I would drive up to the ball and fake challenge, they would give it away to us and we'd get a free ball, or I'd get a free ball to, you know, take possession of. And then it's funny because you absolutely notice it in your own games. You notice when somebody's fake challenging you a lot because it works. Fake challenging is such a powerful tool because you kind of have to respect the fact that somebody could be really challenging you. And so whether you are a high ranked player or not, fake challenges work. And so when I'm playing somebody who's actually really good at the game, I notice that like fake challenges are a huge thing. And it makes it very difficult to play somebody who throws in fake challenges well.
Offend anyone in this game.
Yeah.
And especially anyone at this rank. Because I'll say this about my pro level opponents. They're so stupid. They will just they'll flip the ball away. They will. If you challenge like this and just leave, they will flip the ball away. Look, he's already flipping. He would have done that regardless of you going. So in this position, if your teammate can be a little bit closer to you, which they will be in most situations in this position, and your opponents are awkward, especially the guy that's not taking the 50, which if we look here, he's just landing, okay, and he's also going for the boost. They will flip the ball to your teammate most of the time for a free shot. So start fake challenging. If they don't do that, you'll just put yourself in better positions and you'll avoid getting sucked into the play, which is what we did a little bit there. Our play stopped and our attack stopped because we allowed them to take 50. 50s are good for defense. They're better for defense than they are for offense because they're good for possession. So you can use your opponent, even if you're on low boost, like this guy was. Actually, sorry, he wasn't. That's a mistake. But even if he was on low boost here, if he was on 10 boost, he could have done this play. 0 boost, he couldn't. He didn't use boost. Look, he's on 65. He could use no boost and still do this play, which clearly means it's better for defense when we're on low boost positions than it is for offense. So don't get sucked into plays. Fake challenge.
Yeah. Man, Jack is kind of heated in this video, but yeah, like Jack said, it is more advantageous for defense than it is offense because on defense, to add to his point, if this player 50, if I'm going to go back a little bit, yeah, like he is saying,
low boost here. If he was on 10 boost, he could.
Another reason that it's more beneficial for defense than for offense is because on defense, after this player 50s, this player can come in and take the next touch relatively risk-free. Whereas this guy back here on offense, it's a lot riskier for him to try to come and take the next touch because that opens up a quick counterattack. Right? If this guy goes, it's unlikely that he's going to get beat. Or if he does, he's just taking another 50-50. Whereas if this guy on offense overcommits to try to score something that isn't there or that's covered, and he gets the ball past him, nobody's back. It's an open net. So it's a lot riskier for this guy to try to follow up a 50-50 than it is for this guy to try to follow up a 50-50.
Could have done this play. 0 boost, he couldn't. He didn't use boost. Look, he's on. So just working on that control. Training packs and free play are going to be your best friends. Play some ones if you don't already. Fantastic touch, more stuff like that. It just got intercepted well, you know? It just got intercepted well. Most of the time that will work. The opponent just reacted really well. You say fair play, next play. Okay, we move on. All right. It's not terrible. Our teammate's still there. Good. I know we're a bit scared. I want you to start playing a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more, being more willing to push forward for balls.
Yeah, so here, I definitely agree with Jack that you need to be more aggressive here. This is a great example of a play where you need to be more aggressive. And again, something that I see very common even at my own rank is people not understanding the concept of closing down space when somebody can shoot. If you can, how do I say this? If you can go for the ball and get a touch on it before your opponent can shoot it, you should try to do that, because this is what I mean by closing down space. I find
a little bit more aggressive.
Let's look at this. Let's replay this a couple times. Look at this scenario.
Good. Move on. All right. It's not terrible. Our teammate's still there.
Okay, I'm going to play that one more time.
All right. It's not terrible. Our teammate's still there.
Actually, sorry. I need to go back
right
before you started boosting
next play.
forward.
Okay, we
that
move
makes
on.
it.
All right. It's not
You
terrible.
missed the point here. So we kill our momentum to back off here. We kill our momentum that we were building up going forward in order to...
Teammate's still there.
In order to back up. We backed up. But if this player was shooting, right, he's not sure if this player is facing the play or not, or if he's coming for a shot. I'm sure that's why he's hesitating. But what I'm saying here is whether he's coming for the shot here or not, we don't want to hesitate in this position. Because would you rather, I mean, if he takes a shot in this position, if it's a good shot, we're not saving it. It's just not being saved. And that's the issue that I'm talking about, is why let him take a shot, an open shot, where again, if he gets it top shelf, we're not saving it no matter what we want to do here. Instead, let's close the space, covering the angles where he could shoot, right? If he's coming at this ball to shoot, we want to close down the distance so that we actually have a chance of saving this. So we have a chance of not getting scored on. But if we don't, if we just let him shoot, we're getting scored on most often. And now Sky could be smart and recognize that that's what you're trying to do and play it around you as a pass. Again, like Jack said previously, sometimes you just say fair play, you got outplayed, but we definitely don't want to be just conceding a shot. We don't want to just be letting our opponent shoot it over our head. So I'm gonna play it back one more time at full speed. And I hope you can see that the way he kills his momentum and backs up puts him in an unsavable position to say, you know, for a shot that is top shelf.
You say fair play, next play. Okay, we move on. All right. It's not terrible. Our teammate's still there. Good. I know we're a bit scared. I want you to start playing a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more, you know, being more willing to just try and take time on every ball. You're going to lose games in the short term, but you're going to improve a lot more. Oh, dude, I thought that was the reason we sent this replay in. I would have hated it and loved it at the same time. I don't like people just sending replays in just to, you know, get a reaction to a certain goal, but it would have been fantastic.
So it looks like that's the end of the analysis, guys. This has been a long recording. Hopefully I'm able to pull out a lot of it and it ends up not being what is currently a hour-and-a-half long recording. Hopefully the video ends up around, you know, the typical 40-ish minute range. We'll see. But hey, I liked doing this. Let me know if you guys liked this, and if, hey, maybe you're a fan of other people who do replay analysis, and maybe they're small channels, maybe they're big channels, but especially like if they're small channels, maybe you want to give them the chance to be on my channel, which is also small, but maybe there's a smaller, so they'll get a little bit of exposure from this. I'm super down to analyze other people if you guys have recommendations, or react to other people's analyzations. Analyzation? I don't even know if that's a word. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you learned something, if you liked the video, leave a like on the video, please, and thank you. You know, helps me sleep at night when I see that my videos got a couple likes on them. Leave a comment down below. That helps me out in the algorithm, but I think what people fail to really say in these outros when they're asking for help in the algorithm is that if you're seeing this outro, you've already helped me in the algorithm. The biggest thing in the algorithm, I don't even know why I'm telling you guys this. You probably don't care, but it's watch time. Like, the more people watch the video, the longer that people watch the video, and especially the less often people click off the video within the first 30 seconds. Again, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but that is what really gets the video into the algorithm. The longer people watch and the more people watch past the first 30 seconds. In my experience, those are the two things that are like big indicators that a video is going to do well. So anyways, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Peace.